Hey everyone, this is Fi. Today we're checking out Forbidden Arms. This is a game I've not played before. We're going to give it a playtest and see if we can give some useful feedback. Got the game page open here. It says this game is currently in active development and the downloadable in its current current in-game battle alpha demo. Soon you'll be able to talk to NPCs, explore towns and dungeons, and battle demons and giants. It goes on to say Forbidden Arms Bloodlust is a hack-and-slash action side-scroller that features a limited combo system and epic fights against ninjas, demons, and giant bosses. Slay endless hordes of the Muujin Cage Demon Clan with your bloodthirsty sword. Double-edged. Drink your enemy's blood, else yours will be drained by the power of the mysterious vampire Relic Sword. If you like what you see, please consider donating or pledging in the Patreon page. It does mention that there's an not safe for work version, which I am not playing. So presumably this will be more safe for work. I'm hoping it doesn't end up being too spicy, but we'll see what happens. I'm not. Well, actually, I have seen past the screen. I've seen the screen past the screen. When I went in to look for that, I was trying to get it to go into full screen mode, but I haven't actually read what's here. It says this alpha finishes the battle system by 100%. There's also a Wink version coming soon. This demo is the battle scene only. There's no tutorial area yet, but there is a game mechanics page. When you pause the game, I highly suggest you read half of the mechanics page, else you'll end up killing yourself by spamming skills. This demo will allow you to fight 100 enemies at once for testing purposes, and your FPS will drop in those settings. Oh, okay. Stay with 25 to 50 max active enemies to be sure. I see. By the time you read all this, the start button should be ready. Press enter on the keyboard or confirm on your controller of choice. So I do have the Xbox 360 controller here. That's what we're gonna use. So, like I said, I did see the opening screen here, and I opened this up briefly. We can pop that into full screen. I did notice that after closing the game, it didn't keep this setting. But not a big deal. And then it looks like we have an FPS counter here. Interesting the way that this is set up. So the defaults are kind of like this. It's kind of weird. You kind of expect that the defaults would sort of be all the same, you know, set to the same level or whatever. I don't know. That doesn't really matter. But I did want to mention that the this interface sound is maybe a little loud in my opinion. But other than that, I guess it's not worth talking about as much as I am probably. Combo counter display both sides. Interesting. Damage displays show all, specials only hide all. Screen shake 100%. It's nice to have a setting for that. Let's go ahead and hit start and see what happens. Alright, basic controls. Pause the game for advanced move lists. Alright, so it looks like we got keyboard and gamepad stuff on the same screen here. Interesting layout, kind of smushing it all together. Movement. We're just going to assume that's either the stick or the D-pad. We'll find out. Game pause is P. And presumably like the start button on the gamepad. I don't know. So the thing on the left is kind of weird. How it's like you can see the association with the keyboard keys better than you can see the association with the gamepad stuff. The way it's designed there. But let's look in the middle here. Blood Rage, it looks like, is on the top button. Special attack, normal attack, dash, dodge. Bottom right. Max enemies active, total enemy count, choose battle stage town. So I've got, okay, there's a cursor or a highlight here. Alright, so this is, set this up how we want. Interesting. Total enemy count 75. A small flat stage, big flat stage, irregular terrain might get buggy and wonky. Still testing physics for jumpy stages. Stages have no parallax yet. Interesting. All right. Looks like there's some credits in the bottom left if you want to look at that. Let's go ahead and hit start and we'll see what happens. Oh my gosh. Okay. Music is suddenly very loud. Yeah, let's make sure. I'm gonna turn this way down in the capture so that whoever's watching this probably will sound better. Hopefully. But yeah, so this is a common problem I encounter with people's unfinished games, is that they tend to make just the general volume levels of the games like a lot higher than it needs to be, and I have to put the volume in Windows down to like 5% or something. So I always recommend, just open up some other games that you have on Steam or whatever, and just try to get your own games volume levels into some kind of a ballpark of other games in general. Looks like, this reminds me of the game did suggest that I should read this, so looks like we run on the stick. This is nice, I mean. Oh, up is jump. Well, that's good to know. So it's kind of weird how we had like a page of controls, but it was like really incomplete. And now we have like a whole other page here. A little weird. Rage, special, normal, dash. Alright, so pressing up to jump is something to get used to. It's not my favorite thing. I'm assuming we don't have rebindable controls yet or anything. So let's see how that goes. Normal, sword attack is the red button on the right, it looks like. Would usually prefer that to be like the bottom or the left. I think like the bottom button and the left button are like the sort of like the default buttons that you hit, and then the right and top ones are like secondary in most cases. So interesting how normal is put on the right here. If the opposite direction is pressed before the attack button, Mayumi will face and attack towards that direction. This is a way to deal with enemies coming from both sides. Right? The pools, the Bloodlust pool. The sword she wields returns tremendous power but require constant supply of blood or it drains Mayumi's Bloodlust pool reserve. She must sink the sword's edge against her enemies to sustain the sword for the power it grants. Fail to quench the sword's thirst for blood and it devours on Mayumi's very own life force pool. Alright, kind of a wordy explanation here. Making it kind of flowery, maybe a little unnecessary, but as battles commence, Mayumi's wrath and bloodlust slowly culminates. This is represented by the Blood Rage pool. A thundering cache of dreadful might to be unleashed and wreak further havoc. Alright, very flowery descriptions here. So yeah, we've got 3 meters. One of them, the red one, apparently is for like the pools, the swords reserve, I guess. We'll just call it that. And then the green one, I assume, is just basic health. And then the pink one is for some special something. So yeah, interesting, this idea of like the sword needing to kill enemies in order to not like take health from you. Something I don't think I've seen since like the Shinobi game on PS2, which is pretty cool. But as Mayumi hits enemies and enemies hit back, the Blood Rage pool fills up. When it does, press top button to detonate. It can also be done mid-air. Can be unleashed at any moment. You have 1 level of Blood Rage, so use it to counter enemies. What does it mean by 1 level? I don't know. Use it to counter enemies, recover after getting knocked down, or cancel any current action. This the blast repels enemies around Mayumi, and she will be invulnerable for a time. Blood Rite Arts. Moments after unleashing Mayumi's Blood Rage, she then tames it to a sharp and hallowed energy. Pressing any movement key direction will brandish Blood Rite Arts. So you hit the button and then you press one of the cardinal directions. Ground and air blood right arts have different damage types and other properties that you can take advantage of in different scenarios, so be sure to try them all. It is important to remember that the left and right blood right arts activate to where Mayumi is facing. I don't know what that means. Think of fireball projectiles in fighting games where you perform it towards the enemy. Okay, that's not entirely clear to me. So it's one of two things: either pressing left or right does the same thing but in different directions, or it depends on the direction she's facing before you activate it, and then left and right has a different function. That's kind of the latter is kind of what I might think of based on what it's talking about with the fighting games. But then there's like this picture where it's like she's doing the same thing but in opposite directions, which suggests the former. I don't know, but we'll figure it out, I guess. Dash button serves as an escape or close-in skill, as this skill makes Mayumi invulnerable for a time. It takes a great amount from the Bloodlust pool. Interesting. Very interesting. Wow. Okay. So we don't just want to use that whenever we feel like it, apparently. That's an interesting choice. Press attack while dashing to perform Rasen DOS flying. Okay. The trajectory of the skill will be decided by the direction the button you pressed. Okay, so we throw a direction in there, I guess. That's... I don't know. At some point we throw a direction in there. This is perfect for counters and backstabs. There are also other attacks you can perform amidst dashing, so experiment with the controls. Alright. Oh, 6 out of 15. Holy cow, that's a lot of pages. I thought there was like 5 pages for some reason. But there's 15, okay. And it takes a long time to go through them because I have to wait for the page transition before I can press the next page, so that's a little annoying. My gosh, there's a lot of stuff here, okay. So it's got like all the different move sets. Oh my gosh, okay. Like, I don't want to miss out on this stuff. There are many forms of special attacks. Pressing a button as is unleashes a sword / projectile that cuts through enemies and eats a percentage of the Bloodlust pool. Warning: if a skill that requires Bloodlust ends up insufficient, it will consume a portion of the remainder from the life force pool. So apparently... Yeah, so apparently specials take the Bloodlust, which is kind of dangerous, and then there's the Rage meter, so you don't have like a special meter. You just have your Bloodlust pool. Interesting. Some attacks are imbued by special elements or properties. Energy based. But it burns enemy blood, therefore little to none can be absorbed by Mayumi. Okay. More elements of complexity to deal with here. Can restore health by rerouting some of absorbed blood to her own life force pool. With a level of blood rage, she can use the blood right arts inverse aura. Simply unleash blood rage, then press left if facing right. Oh. Well, this seems important. So apparently, if I'm reading this correctly, like even if you fill up your Bloodlust pool and you're still getting blood from killing enemies or whatever, you can't actually heal yourself unless you're using this specific technique, I guess. Which is kind of weird because it's like, you know, a rather particular way to do sort of a fundamental thing, which is, you know, getting health back. So I guess that's an important technique to know. It has to be, I guess you should maybe call it press back instead of press left, but yeah, that's interesting. I feel like it might be nice if instead of having this particular ability you're using for healing, you'd have some kind of situation where you could heal without this specific ability, like I don't know, I mean, I was thinking maybe if the Bloodlust meter was filled, then like it could kind of top over into your health pool, maybe something like that would work, or maybe you could have some other kind of effect where like every time you get blood, it fills your Bloodlust pool but gives you like a tiny bit of health as well or something. It might be nice to just kind of simplify the way that this works a bit. Send enemies flying with a catapult slash. Jump afterwards to catch them midair. Oh, down and normal. Oh my gosh, okay. Climax burst. Flashing trigger. Special. Oh my gosh. All right, yeah. So there's a lot of, I guess a lot of depth here, but phew, yeah. This is a lot to take in for like the very first time being exposed to the game. I haven't even actually gotten into the gameplay itself. I can't actually. Oh, okay. I was having trouble actually getting out of this menu. Apparently, it's the X button or whatever. Xbox. Wait, it's not working now. I have to. Okay, I have to navigate to. Oh, why can I do that? Oh, never mind. I guess it's just the A button. I just thought it was the wrong button for some reason. Okay, so like. Alright, there's a lot of enemies. Obviously this is just like an alpha test room kind of thing. It's not set up like a real level or anything, so it is like kind of mildly annoying that I can't get used to the general movement and stuff and experiment with the controls before I'm encountering enemies, because that would help a lot. So, you know, if this was an actual level, that's kind of what you would expect is that sort of deal. So can't be helped, I guess, but that's, you know, maybe for a future demo it'd be nice to just throw together even just a really basic sort of level structure where you can say like, okay, here's an area where you can just move around and then press a few buttons and then you can go fight, you know, that kind of thing. That'd be nice. It seems like the enemies aren't extremely aggressive so far, so I can kind of jump around a lot. This is still super loud. Oh, how many jumps do I get? So my health is going down because I'm not... Alright. Yeah, this is a bit unfortunate. It looks like I'm about to die. Because the game inherently has this sort of time tension element with the Bloodlust needing to be continuously filled, it makes it a bit rough for me to do this kind of playtest, because I'm constantly wanting to kind of stop and kind of experiment with things instead of and, you know, obviously talk a lot instead of like constantly slashing away at the enemies as much as possible. So yeah, just in general with I mean, it's rough when the player's just trying to learn the game, for one thing, if you just slap a time tension element on top of it, because the player doesn't have any time to just actually kind of learn the game at their own pace at that point, because the game is enforcing a certain pace on them. And it's also bad for me because of the way I playtest. So apparently it doesn't kill you though. So I think an enemy hit me. It was a little hard to see. There's a lot of them kind of stacked on top of each other, but apparently it makes you go down to 1 HP and then doesn't actually game over you until you get hit again, which is an interesting choice. I kind of appreciate things being slightly more forgiving in that fashion. Actually, exit. Okay. It says exit game, so I thought I might just close the whole game. But I'm wondering if I can do... Oh no, why did you enforce a minimum? No, you shouldn't have done that. For what purpose? It's not... We're not playing for score here, it's just for testing. That's too bad. Well... I guess that's better. Also, yeah, so the whole Bloodlust thing, needing to kill the enemies is gonna... would have messed that up anyways, I guess. But yeah, I do wish I could just kind of switch that off for the sake of the testing and stuff. I don't even know where that guy went. The blood, it drains real fast though, holy moly. Yeah, so I'm just gonna probably pause and talk a lot here. So yeah, it's my inclination to hit the X button as like my default attack button, but I'm just doing special attacks apparently, so it's a little bit of a strange choice. I'm not gonna... I guess I'm gonna feel like I'm just spamming or mashing buttons here without knowing what any of these movements are gonna do. In any case, so the first thing I notice immediately with getting into the gameplay itself is that there's like a ton of inertia on all the movement and stuff. And like even just turning around, that takes a long time, and I can't say I can really see a purpose to having any turnaround time at all versus just like turning around instantly. It's certainly not worth it just for the sake of an animation, you know. Like maybe you can fudge the animation in there without actually enforcing it in the gameplay. But I don't like the turnaround time. On top of that, yeah, there's a lot of inertia, so that makes your general movement a lot less responsive than it would be otherwise. Apart from that, there's other stuff like you know, there's this kind of a long landing time where you're kind of stuck in place, which, I mean, that kind of works for like a fighting game, which this is in a sense, but like usually I think that kind of stuff works better for like a one-on-one fighting game, you know, where both characters are kind of symmetrical in their abilities and such, their power level in general. For a game that you're fighting like a bajillion enemies, I definitely prefer just responsiveness in general. So like having these times when you're stuck like watching an animation because you just landed on the ground, that kind of thing, it can be a little annoying, and I think just kind of bring the experience down a bit. It does appear you can do attacks like instantly after landing, but you can't like run. I don't know. Interesting choices there, but yeah. So I generally think that leaning on more of a responsive, prioritizing responsiveness more would be a good idea for like any sort of game where you're just fighting a lot of enemies, or just most action games in general where it's not like a symmetrical game like a one-on-one fighting game would be. Other than that, it does look like we have some interesting air movement stuff. Is it? Wait a minute. Sometimes I move horizontally a lot faster than other times. I don't know what... Okay, can we do like a... Alright, some interesting stuff going on with the jump mechanics. So is that diagonal if I just press diagonal? This is probably horrible to watch, I apologize. So it seems if you press diagonal, it's a little finicky to do this kind of thing with a game thumbstick, but it seems if you press diagonal, you get kind of this juicy jump that you get a lot of horizontal speed and also kind of vertical height. I guess the height is the same, I suppose, but you get the horizontal speed in addition to the same amount of height. So that definitely seems like something you're gonna want, but you can't go, like, you can't really change direction very well. You can kind of move back and then you can kind of zoom forward again, which is interesting. Oops. So when you're in this state of this kind of diagonal jump, you can kind of move forward a lot faster than you can move backwards. Which is interesting. And you can also do like a double jump where you sort of maintain that property where you can still move forward a lot faster than backwards. It's weird. I don't really understand, like, how should I put it? It seems like it's kind of a lot to wrap your brain around, like this idea that you have to like keep in mind that the direction you're facing and the type of jump you're doing, and then when you do a double jump and it changes direction, but you can't move right as fast as you can move left at that point. It seems like there's just like a lot of variables, maybe a bit too much to deal with, where I maybe might wish that I could just kind of jump in a more predictable manner and you know, have my left and right movement be more consistent and not dependent on all these different properties and such. I don't know, maybe there's some elements of depth that it adds in here somewhere, but it does seem like a lot. So you can hold diagonal to jump continuously. Can I do it? I just hold up? Yeah, but you have a ton of like landing lag. That's interesting. So if I do the diagonal jump, it's still a landing animation, but I can jump again instantly. So that's weird. I don't really understand that. Alright, these are normal attacks, which I can just spam. Alright, I'm doing combos, just pressing the button over and over and over and over again. I'm getting more and more blood from this guy, apparently. So I can just farm this guy for his blood, I guess. Oh, I let him drop. Highest combo X41, interesting. So if I don't... I guess the only special I can do is this slash thing because I don't have any of the blood meter, is that correct? Oh. Wait. Oh, you can hold it. Okay, interesting. Oh gosh, there's a lot of lag. Holy cow, there's a lot of lag on some of these attacks. Like, you can keep attacking, but you can't... If I want to run in the opposite direction, I have to wait. It feels like 2 seconds or something before it like even starts running, and then you have the inertia. You have to wait for your character to build up the speed, like turn around and then build up the speed, and then finally you're moving. Quite a bit. Alright, so there's that thing, I suppose. Which I can still... Oh, interesting. Can I just keep spamming that? The little meter at the bottom, the pink one, I don't know what that's... Oh, I can't press it anymore. I don't really understand what value that meter is currently showing. I mean, it looks kind of small in the middle there, but it's not like 0. I don't know what that's indicating. So as of right now, okay, I can't press that rage thing. I think the instructions mentioned something about like having different. I don't remember the word used, but you had like you could maybe fill up the meter multiple times to get more things you can use. Something to that effect, I guess. That's the dash button, so presumably you can also cancel out like some of the lag with the dashing and stuff, so that would be a consideration to make. That has to be pretty close. Whoops. Interesting. Okay, so you have this charge attack thing. You can hold the button down to do this. That's cool. But yeah, so like if I do a normal attack, it kind of goes in a combo mode where like if I press attack once and then press it again and then hold it. Oh, in this case it didn't do it. It didn't do anything in this case. It just kind of had like a really long ending lag. Okay, so at some point I let him hit me. Oh no, I want to reset. I don't want to watch the game over screen. I just want to like go right back into it here. That's fine. Alright, so what I was saying, once you kind of start a normal combo, you can't just press and hold the button to go into this thing. Which might be nice. So like if I want to do that, what the heck? Sometimes it just like when I hold the button down, it just starts doing a bunch of moves. Maybe it's because I was in the air, and then I land. So if I just jump and then press and hold the attack button, it seems like I can do like 3 attacks. It's interesting. Okay, so like I do like an attack in the air, and then when I land it does a different attack, and then if I press forward it does a different attack. Like I only press the button once, but it keeps doing all these other attacks. Okay, if I press forward it keeps doing this one too. Like I was still just holding the button that whole time. So there's like a lot of little quirks here and like how this works that I'm just not familiar with. So if I just kind of want to like hold the button down to do that charge attack, but I'm in the middle of like some other movements and stuff, I can end up doing a bunch of stuff that I don't want to because it's set up to do some of these other attacks without needing like another button press to attack with. It's kind of confusing. It's like I feel like in general the game just expects you to have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things to play it sensibly. Maybe it's not very intuitive in general. Does seem like it has a lot of depth though, and I have little doubt that it will reward people who take a lot of time to learn stuff about it. What else do I do? There's so many things in the game. It's hard for me to like think about it unless it was like if this was a game I was playing more seriously instead of like you know, just doing a single play test, then I would take the time to kind of systematically go through and like, okay, what's the next thing I want to learn how to do, and then you know, maybe just really gradually learn how to do every individual technique in here. But as far as playtesting, it's not actually not that obvious to me, like what I should be trying to do next. Not sure if I should try to learn more things or just could at least just throw the rest of the enemies in here again and start spamming attacks. And see if I can squeeze out any more sort of feedback from that, I suppose. So what was this set to by default? I don't remember. Was it 25? 30? Oh. Was it 25? I actually have no idea. Here we go. Spamming attacks. Looks like I did some kind of a dash thing. One thing I did notice is that like there's just a ton of overlap here, and like even before you have all the effects from the attacks and like the gigantic blood splatters and all the other flashy stuff, it's sort of hard to read what every individual guy is doing. Like I can't really, not very easily see when they're like winding up to attack. Like if I look, I mean obviously they have an animation and everything, but it doesn't necessarily stand out that much when they're all stacked on top of each other. Maybe you can add some flashing in or something, so like the sprite maybe just flashes a bit when it's like, oh, I'm about to attack or something like that. I don't know. That might help a little. But then of course you have like a lot of this, like these effects are just kind of covering up everything. They're just kind of drawn on top of everything. So you could probably do a lot to enhance the clarity here. I'm not really paying attention, so I have no idea what actually hit me or killed me. I wasn't paying attention to my health meter or anything, or the Bloodlust meter, so I was probably at like 1 HP anyways, but I didn't see what hit me there. Like I have no idea. So I definitely think you could do a lot with the visual clarity here. So yeah, simple suggestions might be just add in some flashing when you want to telegraph something, and then maybe put that flashing effect like on top of all the other effects and stuff, make sure that the player can actually see it. Something along those lines would probably work. I don't remember what I was going to say after that, so back to just slicing dudes. My health is like ultra low. I think alright, I managed to activate the health restore thing. So I don't know if like my health just drained really low while I was talking, I think maybe. And I let the Bloodlust meter run out. Maybe that's what happened, because I wasn't really paying attention for a while there. So that's understandable. So I'm just spamming the attack button, more or less. Definitely very cool looking. So what are the other special things? Can I not do them now? Need more blood. I want to turn around. There we go. So you can turn around basically instantly if you're doing an attack. But you can't just like... You can't just wait and then like after you attack and then turn around normally, because it takes forever. Something hit me. I don't know what. Aren't there supposed to be other... Presumably there's other special moves. I don't know if you're supposed to link them into combos or something. It's not just like press a different direction and then the special button, because I think the only thing that... Oh my gosh, am I getting stun locked? Wait, what do I... So... Apparently the enemies can stun lock you unless you do like a particular sort of maneuver, which is an interesting choice. Which was... So I think you can burn the dash move maybe? Or there was... Maybe hidden in the mechanics somewhere, there's like some timing based thing you can do if you are... Oops. Wait, how did we go to... What page did we start on in here? Recovery situations. Recover by dashing in midair. Recover by pressing dash or tap up just as Mayumi hits the pavement. Recovery fails and Mayumi is knocked down. Press any of the following as hints for recovery direction. Alright, so there's some situation where you can do some timing-based things to recover after you hit or whatever, I guess. Which is cool, but it just seems a little weird that you can... Like, if you fail to do those, that you can just kind of get stun locked over and over again. Seems a little weird to me. Like, I would... I don't know, I think maybe something like, think about it in terms of like if you can do one of these special recovery things that you would get more of a bonus, like you can catch an enemy off guard, or you can maybe even like recover some health or something, as opposed to like needing to do it by default to not just, you know, get killed by getting hit over and over again. It might work nicer that way if it's more of like a little bit more of an optional thing, or it gives you more of a bonus rather than being required. I don't know if that makes sense the way I'm describing that. That's just my first impression of that, but it is a little weird, especially when you're starting out and you haven't just like religiously studied this stuff. When you just start getting stun locked by enemies, just doing like the same attack over and over again, it definitely feels weird. So I guess I killed everyone. I wasn't really trying that hard, but I don't think it's intended to be challenging here. Press and hold the attack button. Okay. Alright, yeah, so I don't know what else to do, but I did say you could put this up to like 100 at once, which is actually higher than this. I don't know if that... Oh, okay, I don't know if that... Physics for jumpy stages. Yeah, because this definitely doesn't control like a platformer does. It's not so responsive. But I guess I'm gonna go on here with the bajillion enemies. Oh my gosh, that's a lot different than I expected. Well, oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait. So... Alright, maybe I made some kind of incorrect assumption here about how this works. This is like something that needs to be put in a tutorial, I guess. But so when you get knocked down like that, I guess pressing buttons and stuff doesn't do anything. But I think if you press the direction, it might get up a lot faster than I originally thought it did. So for whatever reason, it was like my first choice of action was to like hit buttons until my character got up, you know, whereas I just kind of laid there forever. So I guess maybe that's just not very intuitive, but it's a little hard to test, I guess. This is definitely chucking the frames down. Yeah. Which is what they said would happen. I don't know, can you knock me down or something? Alright, knock down. I pressed the direction. I don't know if that was... I don't know if it just like instantly gets you up or if that was more of a timing based thing, like maybe I pressed it just at the right time. I don't know, but it definitely seemed a lot faster. So yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I don't understand entirely about the game currently. But in general, I think it's clear to say that it's not intuitive. Which, you know, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it's also hard to make something that's very complex and deep without sacrificing some of that as well. So, I mean, obviously there's a balance to be had there, but there's probably more you could do to make it more intuitive if that's what you wanted to do. It seems like it would take a while to really get the player up to speed with everything, like everything that you need to teach them. But it's definitely a bit rough without having any proper tutorial at all. Because there's a lot of stuff that ends up being like actually important, but is like really particular in how it actually works. So yeah, that's a little hard to say much about besides the fact that it's just not intuitive and maybe could be more so, but otherwise, you know, you just have to take the time to teach the player. In a future, more developed version of the game. D-pad probably would feel better now that I'm... I don't really understand the jumping, like the multi-jumps, because you can do like a double jump and then sometimes you can keep jumping, but sometimes it seems like it doesn't work or something, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. I guess you get like at least 3 jumps. And you just jump. I guess you just get 3 extra jumps. But... oh, those guys have jumping attacks. So I think you can only jump when you're like going downwards, or at least at the top of the jump, I guess. Maybe not. Maybe you don't have to wait quite until you're going down again. Dash thing I haven't really been using. So I find myself just wanting to be able to kind of run sometimes. Like sometimes you just have to like run in a direction, just for the sake of pure mobility. And the game kind of feels like it's set up so that you don't really have that ability without having like to wait for really laggy stuff to happen, and then you can kind of start running. So you have a lot of moves that have a lot of movement, but you can't just like keep running in a direction after you use them. So like even this dash, that was actually quite interesting because I was holding right after I pressed the dash button and it just stood still, which is maybe not behavior you would want in that situation. But let's try this again. So I press dash and then, wait, okay, dash. What happened there? Now it's definitely running. I don't know what happened before, because I was just holding right and I pressed dash and then it just stood still and didn't move, even though I was still holding right. Don't know what that was. But yeah, so like even with all the moves that you have that have like a lot of horizontal mobility, you can't like just keep moving in that direction. The only way to keep moving continuously in the direction is by like doing a normal run, but doing a normal run is like ultra laggy because you have to like get out of whatever you're doing last and like build up the speed and everything. So it takes like a lot of time to get into that state where you're just moving in that direction. So if you just have to move across the stage, it's a little frustrating. So I wish I could do something like maybe out of the dash you could just keep running or something, like you maintain your momentum, or you know, even any other move that would allow me to do that. I guess it seems like the most intuitive move to do that with would be the dash move, even though it has a resource. I guess that's kind of unfortunate that it uses it up, but yeah, just being able to like keep that momentum and throw it into like running in one direction would help a lot. Apart from that, I don't know. I don't think I could really get into, you know, the deep depths of the game here within the scope of this playtest video in order to like give any more particular feedback. I'm sure there's a lot more I could learn about the game, and then I could have, you know, a lot different opinions probably at that point about different things. But as far as the basics of very first impressions and stuff, I think I probably said enough. Yeah, it's definitely pretty complicated. All right, I think that was I was doing some misinputs with the crappy Xbox 360 D-pad there, but it definitely feels like the D-pad is a bit nicer. It shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, I assume. So there's definitely, I guess you can do like a double jump. What? I think it's a double, you can kind of do like a double diagonal jump or something. I think this might have been something I noticed like right in the beginning. It seemed like you get like a massive jump, but I didn't realize that it wasn't. I don't know, sometimes the jumping is different. I don't know what's going on exactly. Like you can do at different heights and stuff. I don't know how it's working. And it definitely seems like there's some kind of way you can do like a double diagonal jump. I guess if you just slap diagonal twice really fast, which is hard to do accurately on this D-pad. Something like that, you can get like a really big jump. And then these smaller jumps, I don't even know how I'm getting those smaller jumps. I don't know, there's a lot here. But definitely good news is that just spamming the attacks still feels good, so that's definitely a good thing. Really stylish and nice smooth flowing animation. Definitely a very cool game, but I think I'm gonna wrap up this video, and I'm hopeful that something in here was helpful to you. All right, let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next video.